Hey guys, welcome to Transatlantic Wrestling Talk with myself, Andy, and as always, my brother, Pantera. How we doing, buddy?
I'm very good, Andy. I'm very good. We got our Halloween shirts on today. Mine's a little stained because I did have some Cinnamon Toast Crunch on there too, just to show you the morning mood. And I actually watched the new Halloween yesterday. So,
Any good?
no, it was horrible.
So good then.
It was, yeah. So it was just a buffet of death. It was illogical, nonsensical death. But we're not here to talk about that. We're here to talk about this week and the wrestling programs and even one less program, right?
Got that coming tonight. But obviously we're recording now on Saturday afternoon, so it's going to be on Saturday night Dynamite, isn't it? But let's go back to that word horrible and let's use that in a non-great way, which is some of the wrestling that was on show this week.
Absolutely.
Raw. I've been really impressed with Raw the last couple of weeks. Thought it been really, really good. I thought some of the way they've done the certain things. I know with the draft being there, but even pre-draft, it was doing well. It was doing really well, and I feel like they're just falling back into their old tricks again now.
Yeah, this is now it's a tie into Saudi Arabia, which I would also like to point out. Have you noticed that they never say Saudi Arabia? Instead, now they say Crown Jewel, and it's alluded to as Saudi Arabia. They don't like saying the name, so I'm sure Sami Zayn also doesn't like saying the name as well, nor will he probably be going this time around.
No, he will not.
But Raw just tries to tie into that, even though, what is it, next Thursday they're going. So, you're going to have one.
Zayn lost, didn't he, against Balor on SmackDown?
That's right. I forgot about that.
Yeah. Which, to be fair, we knew we were coming, and it frustrated me a bit when I seen Sami Zayn in it, because we all know Sami's not going to go to Crown Jewel because he won't go to Saudi Arabia with his Syrian heritage. And it was kind of like, well, why was the point of putting him in the tournament if, we know as fans that he's not going to go there?
I think they like the tease of that. And that's cool. I don't mind the tease. Like there's been times where we watch matches and we know this guy's going to lose, but the match was so dang good. So it's like, oh man, this might actually happen. So, I'm for everybody's choice with going or not going to that or anything, to be honest with you. You could work however you want to work, and he has some rights to that. But isn't it funny that we could see Prince Devitt become King Balor?
Makes sense, doesn't it? I mean, I think that really makes sense. I think him to be kind of in that tour, that tournament. When I seen the names who were going into that tournament, that was the first thing I thought was the Prince becoming the king.
Yeah. So he's anointed. He's graduated, but he's technically lost the title by not losing the title when he earned it that one time, right? That was after SummerSlam a few years ago, 16. Yeah. So 5 years, right? So, I think he has another run in him. You and I discussed last month how he didn't have to win the title, or Reigns and Lesnar didn't need a title. We had the discussion and we thought that there could have been a chance that Balor actually got the title as the Demon. But I guess being a king is the next best thing.
Well, look up. It didn't do Booker T any harm, did it?
No.
Being a king is not a bad thing as long as it's done correctly. We've seen it over the years. Owen Hart, King of Hearts, awesome king, really good king. Booker T, really good king. And then we've seen some really bad kings. King Corbin was never really a king. King Nakamura. There's some. It's one of them, isn't it? I suppose it's how they write it and how they do it is dependent on whether it's going to be a success or not, isn't it?
Yeah, I agree with that. I think there's been other kings. I think Ken Shamrock won King of the Ring as well, right?
Yes, I think so.
All right. We have Helmsley, who won King of the Ring.
Helmsley won King of the Ring.
Bret
Austin.
Hart was a great king, and what directly led into Bret Hart winning King of the Ring? A feud with
Uh,
Jerry Lawler.
it was. So you
Yeah.
can do it, can't you? You know what I mean? Just trying to look here, and I'll tell you if Shamrock won it. So we had Mabel, not yeah.
Oh man.
Or
With Sir Mo. Sir
as I
Mo.
say Mo, yeah, as I like to call it, the Burger King.
Oh,
Okay,
the Burger King.
yeah. There's
One of
another
my
one here, Billy Gunn.
no, King Gunn.
King Gas.
Yeah.
Uh,
Wasn't it Edge that made the promo saying if he wins King of the Ring, he won't be like Billy Gunn and just suck?
Bad News Barry.
There's a guy
Yeah.
that I wish, and I think the rest of the community wanted to win desperately. Like
Sheamus as well.
King Sheamus. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
You know,
Ted
he had a crown of
DiBiase won it.
thorns. When did DiBiase win? He was like the first.
1988. No, the first ever King of the Ring was Hacksaw.
Yeah, and he was who won the first? No, Hacksaw. Did he win the first Royal Rumble too?
He did.
Jeez.
Edge has been a King of the Ring. Triple H. Brock Lesnar's been a King of the Ring.
Yep.
Kurt
Back then,
Angle,
it meant something. Back then, remember, it would go into a title run within the next couple of years. You know,
Macho Man Randy Savage won it.
This meant something, and then for the past decade, it hasn't.
That's it. But if you look at every previous winner, I'd say probably apart from Mabel, Billy Gunn, perhaps. You know, there's a lot of big names in there, mate. Don Baracco won it as well. Tito Santana.
Oh yeah.
And the one that probably was most deserving, William Regal.
He was great. Regal was just so good. I don't think people realize, you know. No. But I will say this, man. Back in the day, it actually meant something to be King of the Ring. Now, you know, Mabel was kind of the chink in the armor there.
But he won it in '95, didn't he? And then Austin won it in '96, and we were away to the races there. But I'd say Brock Lesnar, you know, Booker T. There's really good names there, mate. There's, you know, whoever wins it this time round is going to be in some good company, and obviously, hopefully, it shows that they can go on and win it and do well with it. You know.
If we take a look at the past brackets, though, we see great names like Mr. Hughes in there.
Yeah. Bodyguard, Mr. Hughes, eh?
Oh, yeah. Who kept coming back, and Jericho brought him back. He was like an Ultimate Warrior back then too.
That still makes me laugh. You know, William Regal's road to the final was quarterfinal Hornswoggle, and then semi-final Finley and final CM Punk. So
he beat Punk. Oh my God.
He did.
Oh, do you think Punk's upset that he never won King of the Ring?
Don't know. It depends, doesn't it? With Punk, I think it's whether he deems it esteemed or not, doesn't it? You know what I mean? So whether he can.
I'll put it out there. I think he probably does. I think he's upset by that. Remember, he was a big fan of the ice cream bars from back in the day. He never won a Royal Rumble. Has he headlined WrestleMania? No, he should have. But, you know, I think that he was a big mark for the old school tribes for wrestling. He would have been a great king.
He would, wouldn't he? He would have been a good king. King Punk.
Hey, that might have been something how you and I would have booked it, correct?
Not that. But I think if you're looking at the current crop, I think Finn Balor's definitely the one to go for, isn't he?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, so we'll look at Raw as a whole. I didn't really think much of it, mate. I thought it was really poor. Just from start to finish, it was just, you know. And the fact that they had to get the Usos on there and Spring. I know they're probably doing that in conjunction with Crown Jewel and stuff like that. But at the same time, it's like, it's just for me. It's not for me. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. I think a lot of times it's, you know, because they're doing all this stuff with Xavier Woods now. They're kind of leaning towards him being king, which to be fair, he'd be a great king if he turned heel.
Yeah.
We need more heel people like that because Corbin just doesn't have that demeanor. He's better than what he is right now, I should say. He's better being who he is right now. But, looking at it right now, you have Omos and Riddle. People are saying that Omos is going to be a great wrestling talent. Still don't see it. Could he get there? Sure. But you got to help out the kids, right? I will, because they love him. They love Riddle, RK Bro, and they're selling merch. So this is not even the iceberg. This isn't even the tip of the iceberg with these guys, with how much they're going to push them. I think it could be a new day as far as marketing goes, but I don't,
Well, did you see that news about Roman with it's unbelievable, that, isn't it?
What's that?
So as a heel, Roman Reigns is matching John Cena merchandise sales.
Oh yeah.
I can't believe it. I really can't believe it. But it just shows you how well he's doing, how far he's over, doesn't it? You know what I mean?
Cena's shirts are just knockoffs of everything else in the past. Remember, he had that shirt where he was in Mike Tyson Punch Out. He just came out with his Suzuki suit, Mario, like from Super Mario 3, stuff like that, which copied the Young Bucks and them. That's another story. But look at that head of the table shirt is the best thing they came out with merchandise wise in 5 years. I'll say it. That includes the Bray Wyatt stuff that looks like knockoff Affliction shirts.
I don't like this whole Big E and Big D stuff either.
Nah, man. Nah.
And the thing is, you know what's going to happen? Obviously, true WWE style, but he's going to a different show now. So he's got being drafted, so he can eat the pin on his way out, can't he?
Why is he even still on the show? Like, it's just, you got drafted. Go back over there. You never saw this. It was a formula that worked years ago where they said, all right, you're drafted, on to the new show. Not, I got business to finish up here.
Yeah,
nobody's paying to see this. Nobody's paying to see Big E and Drew.
The stipulation of the draft doesn't come into effect until after Crown Jewel.
Cheap.
Other thing on there I thought made me laugh was the Hurt Business versus Mansoor and Ali. Obviously Mansoor's got a fight in Saudi, so let's put him with Ali for a couple of weeks and then split them up just so we've got some kind of a feud going into this match.
We called it too. We said that they had, this is the Mansoor. It's like Jungle Boy, like this is the push for this guy. We're gonna do stop and go with him. Yeah, it's just, it's in poor taste too, because it's just like, why don't you have the first time Mansoor, when they did Crown Jewel, remember Mansoor, or no, Biggest Royal Rumble. I'm sorry, Biggest Royal Rumble was when Mansoor came out, and it was a huge pop.
Yeah.
No advertising whatsoever for this. And now they're getting him TV time. And I like the fact that he likes other people's gimmicks and let's team with him. And then Ali says, no, fuck that guy. I like that dynamic.
Yeah.
It's cool. But come on. We're just feeding into the masses, I'm sick of this company bending the knee.
Well, that's exactly what it is, isn't it? Also, one thing I wanted to mention was Bobby Lashley's promo. Poor Bobby, without even saying anything, was just pining for MVP, wasn't he?
Yeah.
Oh,
we love the dynamic, man. The visual of those two guys together. But
do you know what it reminds me of? Is like, do you know my kids? Yeah. Like sometimes they like sawing wood or doing different things, you know what I mean? And I'll say, well, you can't do stuff like that unless I'm with you. And I think the whole thing is MVP should be saying to Bobby Lashley, you shouldn't be picking up a microphone unless I'm with you. Because otherwise this accident is what happens in terms of things. And I like Bobby. I do like Bobby. I just think he does need a mouthpiece, and MVP is definitely the right man for the job,
Yeah, come on. Let the guy talk. We talk about this too. The mouthpieces are the ones that really get
Mm,
the heat on these people that can't get heat.
yeah,
Don Callis is doing a great job with Kenny. Kenny gets go home heat, and you don't want that from a champion.
yeah.
You
We've
know, but
also got thing here as well. Jinder Mahal beat Kofi Kingston. Oh no, could he win?
if this was January 1st to 21, right? Would we have said that? Like, would we have thought out loud that that would have been the case?
Well, he hasn't done a lot, has he, since he come back? Obviously, he feuded with Drew, which was okay and stuff. But with them touring again now, I don't know whether there's any plans on them going back to India or just the Middle East in general, apart from Crown Jewel, which you'll probably have a lot of Indian fans there,
Hmm.
and we may see him win to get the pop.
You and I never discussed this. What did you think of Jinder's run?
I thought it was a good run.
I
I thought
enjoyed it.
he got a lot of heat to be, that he shouldn't have had the title and stuff. And it made me laugh because I was just laughing my head off thinking, you marks, that's the whole reason why he's got the belt and why he's being a good heel if you don't like him. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah.
You know.
Usually I watch wrestling in the background, and I'm watching the first King of the Ring where Bret Hart won, and the
Mm.
first round match of Mr. Perfect and Mr. Hughes is on, and Hughes had no business wrestling in this. That's all I'm gonna say. But yeah, I think it was necessary. Some people equate it to JBL's run,
Mm.
only because it was just a dastardly heel that was from the
Oh,
bottom, and now he's
yeah.
can you
JBL's run was just legendary.
you didn't like it?
I loved it. Absolutely loved it. One of
Oh,
my favorite. Do you know, as soon as you mentioned JBL, my first thought is that vignette where he's running around with the flashlight, grabbing people and kicking them back over the board.
that is such a bad look right now.
I tell you.
That is such a bad look right
Yeah.
now.
You could
And
not do
he,
that nowadays.
but I will. You know what though? That four corner match with him and Eddie at
Mm,
SummerSlam.
believe it was.
Holy, that was great. That was
Mm,
such a one of the most underrated matches I've ever seen. He's trailing Eddie. He's touching the corners. Brilliance.
yeah.
And the way he won was probably one of the most perfect ways a heel could win that match.
Mm.
Getting bumped into the turnbuckle with Eddie smacking it. We always discuss who elevates your talent. Eddie Guerrero could probably be number one in that
Mm.
aspect.
But also, we say as well, though, don't you, about how the right people need to be in the right place at the right time. So you always have to have a great dance partner. And I feel like, Eddie Guerrero, in my eyes, and JBL was just as good as Shawn Michaels, Bret Hart, Austin McMahon. Probably not to the same extent of Austin McMahon, but you know what I mean? It was one of them really, really just top level feuds, in my
Yep,
opinion.
absolutely. And people, under a microscope, you're looking at 10 million viewers on Mondays, and on Friday, I forget the SmackDown ratings, but they could have been what, another 5 or 6, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, million. But and that was on Thursdays. I'm sorry, but you take a look at the ratings now; it's abysmal compared to that. But people have to realize that even in 2006, 2007, 2005, all that, ratings might have been down, but you still had solid, ruthless aggression characters coming out.
Hmm.
And they were still on those foundations of those guys 10 years prior. JBL at that point, I think he was there for 95.
Hmm.
He was
Yeah, he
at
was.
Mind Games in '96 against Savio Vega in a bull rope match.
Hmm.
Yeah,
But
and that
don't
was in
forget,
Philly.
before that, he was still with the new Blackjacks, wasn't he, for a bit?
He went into the new Blackjacks after that because that Justin Hawk Bradshaw gimmick wasn't working.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I do apologize. That's
No,
correct.
it's all right. Remember, he was with Zeb Coulter,
Mm.
Dutch
We,
Mantel.
the people.
We did the yeah. No, we'll get to him later. We'll get to him later. But yeah, no, not to go down that, but JBL has his history, and he could be a bully, but in the ring, I will say this: he left a good mark on the it just in the ring. He left a
Yeah.
good mark in the business. I think.
Mm,
You know.
he did. He did. Right. Last thing I'm going to say on Raw, because Raw, as we said, was abysmal, so I'm not going to go too much into it. Doudrop beat Natalia in the Queen's Crown tournament. She couldn't, could she?
This is the right call.
100%.
This is such a right call because
Oh,
I
mate.
didn't. You knew I didn't want to hear the Queen of Hearts. I
No,
didn't want to hear that shit,
no.
especially with her. But
Do you know what, though? I was expecting them to do that, because, especially with AEW doing the Owen Hart stuff with the tournament and all the bits and bobs. Yeah, now they wanted to call it the Owen Hart King of Hearts tournament, didn't they? But they wasn't allowed to because WWE put a stoppers on it. So I expected them to do Natalia as the Queen of Hearts just to kind of give a little bit of a dig. But I'm glad he didn't. I am glad he didn't.
yeah, yeah. Now it's just like, all right, you kind of have more stuff up in the air as far as
Mm-hmm.
who could potentially win this. And Doudrop was a better wrestler, in the UK, and they should bring her here and continue to be a better wrestler than a lot of other people here.
Mm.
When are they doing the when are they doing the finale for the women's or the Queen of Ring thing?
Crown Jewel.
So everybody's gonna have to wear T-shirts and headgear and
Yeah,
stuff wrestling
yeah,
it.
yeah. And let's face it, Doudrop won't look that bad in a t-shirt and that's so.
She's practically in one now anyway. So I was gonna
Yeah.
say she's got the advantage because
Yeah.
she's used to having that much gear on.
I'd love them to change her name to King Piper though.
Yeah,
But I suppose the
they'll
dudes
go
are.
back.
It'd be good if she won that match and she wins the Queen's Crown, and it's a good way to change her character now, isn't it?
Yeah,
Reset her because she's obviously good in the ring and they obviously rate her. And let's face it, she'll be able to hang with the likes of Charlotte and Becky and Bianca and stuff going forward.
oh yeah.
So seeing that now and putting it in that King of the Ring will just be a good, for me personally anyway, would be a good way to get everything that they need out of it.
Dude, give me Charlotte Flair as Alundra Blaze and give me Doudrop as Aja Kong. Or we were talking about Bull Nakano last week.
I thought you were going to say Bull Nakano again there. I was going to say, let it go, mate.
That's why I did the Aja Kong.
Yeah.
She had that
Okey-doke.
backspin. She had that like snap, right? Oh.
Yeah, she was good, mate. They do it all good, but right, let's move on then. NXT. Big talking point for me on NXT is Fatal Attraction. Mandy Rose is doing a great job with them too, and it's elevating them, but it's elevating her, and it definitely is a stable that we could see on the main roster at some point, isn't it?
Yeah, I like that. I think their promos, they kind of do this thing where everything is so memorized and so robotic, and it's almost like Axl Rose. The way they move when they talk, it's like Axl Rose when he's on stage. He does check out like every enunciation when they talk is this, like they're about to sing Sweet Child of Mine or Mr. Brownstone.
Mm-hmm.
Like I do like them, and I think they're good wrestlers. I think Gigi Dolan looks fantastic, but Mandy Rose is just a good heel, and her time is gonna come where she actually is gonna win the title off of Raquel Gonzalez. I'm really surprised that they put Frankie Monet in there to lose last week and kill that momentum too.
I just don't get the point with it, but it is what it is, isn't it? Other thing, Bron Breakker's going to win the title next week, isn't he?
Of course he is. He has to, right?
Yeah. Right call.
Do you want to see a grudge? I mean, it'll probably lead to a grudge match afterwards. Maybe I don't want to see a stipulation match because I think it's too early in Bron Breakker's career to do that.
Yeah, maybe it's what he needs though, because if he's been doing straight up wrestling matches at the Performance Center and stuff, bringing him outside his comfort zone into some kind of gimmick match might do him some good to
Yeah.
help with his education. You know what I mean? But I'm loving NXT at the moment. Really, I'm like, and I find myself kind of going, "Oh, that's a good mix. That's a good mix." So, like for instance, the Kyle O'Reilly and Von Wagner versus Pete Dunne and Ridge Holland, I was like, "Well, that's a good mix." Von Wagner will
Yeah.
learn a lot. Von Wagner will learn a lot in that match. He's got Kyle O'Reilly to lead him. He's got Pete Dunne against him. So he's got a lot of experience there that can help him along his way.
He's not going to be one of those cunning linguists on the mic, but
Mm.
Von Wagner looks intimidating, and he's
Does he?
almost, yeah, dude, this guy's got a look, man, and he's massive.
Mm.
He's a massive dude. That was a fun little match.
It was.
I did not see the ending coming of what's his face?
Oh,
I was gonna
Santos
say,
Escobar versus Aisha Scott.
yeah, I
Yeah.
did not
Oh,
see that
mate,
coming.
that was brilliant.
Yeah.
Absolutely so well done. Because I seen that match, and when I was watching it, I was thinking in my head, yeah, well, he's gonna lose because he's obviously hit row a main roster now. So I'm like, he's gonna lose. It's gonna happen. And then boom, he won it, and I was thinking, I know what's gonna go on here now. Then, do you know what I mean? Does that mean he's taking the belt with him, or something happens? And then obviously, thingy comes out and takes the title after he cashes in his thingy, doesn't he?
Yeah. You
No,
know what?
Carmelo
And
Hayes. Sorry, excuse me.
yeah, Carmelo Hayes, he looks good now as a heel. He
It
did
does.
win. He did win, and his buddy Trick is. I like that when he's bringing out the best of this guy. Like,
Mm.
here, you got to be a heel and stuff.
Yeah,
I kind of like that, Um,
yeah. But I
you know,
thought that the way kudos to give kudos to them. They really did line that up properly, and the way that they done it was carried out very well in my opinion.
right. Do you feel though that do you feel that they are moving Joe Gacy too quick?
No, no. I think moving him too quick's putting him on the main roster, keeping him in NXT and giving him a bit of a bump up and putting some more added pressure on him to see how he deals with it and how he does well. Not a problem with that.
We talked about Braun Breaker winning the title next week against Champa.
Hmm.
Champa had an interaction with um, Parker DeVreau.
Hmm.
Yeah. Now, is that going to Bordeaux? I'm sorry. Um, I really hope that is not how Champa wins. I'm sorry,
Mm.
Champa loses next week.
Yeah.
I want to see Champa lose clean. I want to see, I don't want to see any tomfoolery.
It depends though, doesn't it? Because if he loses through some kind of swerve to protect him a little bit and keep him in the title picture, Bron Breakker going into a program with Tommaso is not going to do him any harm. We've got to remember here, this whole thing is about bringing Bron Breakker up and, helping him progress and helping him learn. So would you really want him to have a one-off shoot match with Tommaso, or would you rather have him in a program where he's going to learn from Tommaso, he's going to have quite a few matches with Tommaso, he's going to, it's going to help elevate him. Not because obviously I think, the WWE PR machine can elevate anybody they want. Let's face it. It can always elevate somebody. But in terms of in-ring work, in-ring ability, all that kind of stuff, they're doing the right things with this breaker by putting him with the likes of a Ciampa. I'd probably like to see him go with Gargano next and kind of, or Pete Dunne, somebody like that. That's going to again help him get better, which in NXT, that's what it's all about.
Of course. Um, I think that's good reasoning to have this
Mhm.
going on. However, I feel like somehow you have an established character that's in a bloodline with, the Steiner brothers. Okay. Breaker does not need that because he's already been, really pushed and everybody knows,
Mm.
it's the worst kept secret in the business. However, if Champa then faces Gacy's goon of
Mm.
Bordeaux, I think that could be a better story. I think the
Yeah.
better story is told through that because I think that Breaker has so many other people that he could
Mm.
face.
The thing you got to remember is, though, in NXT, it's not about the stories, is it? Let's face it.
But that's okay. But that's part of performing.
Oh yeah,
That's all part of this, though. That's all part of
it is. But
NXT
what I'm
learning.
saying is like NXT would probably look at the likes of Bron Breakker and say, well, yeah, there might be a better story to be told here, which probably we can do in the long run. But at the moment, we need to get him ready.
Yeah.
Because let's face it, at the present, there's not a lot of credible threats for Roman Reigns. Is probably what my biggest feeling is on WWE at the moment is you've got to get, Reigns has got to get through and then he's got to get to WrestleMania where I believe he's going to be facing Brock Lesnar now. In between then you need some more fresh meat for him or fresh face for him. So I think Bron Breakker is going to be accelerated towards the main card probably a little bit quicker than what we would normally see. And by keeping him with Tommaso and learning more, because you've got to remember, look at Braun Strowman, he got rushed up, and when he got in the ring with a Brock Lesnar, and he tried to do too much stuff and got it wrong, and Brock Lesnar very much just punched him straight in the face,
clocked him,
yeah,
yeah,
and made him drop back off again. So again, it's one of them, isn't it, mate? It's what's right for the company at the moment.
The difference is that right now, as you and I are discussing this, these are good problems to have.
Oh
because you got a plethora down there. You and I talk. We don't agree on everything.
No.
But there's not much we don't disagree on. One thing that we know that's spot on right now is NXT, and we're enjoying it. I will say this is one other guy that looks damn impressive on there, and that's Zion Quinn. This guy is, I'm surprised they're not saying how he's part of the Samoan bloodline too.
Yeah. But we've still got Roman's brother, and I think with them delaying the match till Hollywood against The Rock, obviously in punching here because I'm going, I feel like WWE have got time there to incorporate maybe The Rock's daughter and the younger Uso into this storyline at some point.
Okay, yeah, I could see that. Do I
And
want to see her in it?
Do you know what would be awesome as well is you could have them two in NXT and have them show up on the main roster a little bit. Then you could have maybe Roman show up at NXT. Imagine the pop, the kudos that gets NXT if Roman Reigns turns up on there.
It could be it could bring 250,000 from the prior week.
Yeah,
that's a lot. That's a big number,
especially for these young people that are trying to get ready for this stuff. And you bring down the big dog into the tribal chief into your show and maybe incorporate a few of them in it, where Roman comes in and beats some of them up and then goes to the Uso and like, come on, you're coming with the bloodline. Do you know what I mean? Or something along them lines. There's a lot of ways you could do it, but to give NXT a bit of rub of the green would be good, wouldn't it?
Yeah. Remember, didn't Chris Hero, what was he, Cassius Ohno, a few years ago, wasn't he getting attacked and then Cesaro ran out?
We've had it a few times, haven't we? Don't forget, we had Charlotte Flair turning up on NXT a few times, didn't we?
Yeah, but it wasn't consistent. But Cesaro's out of nowhere. That's what I liked about it, and that was a nod to the Indies too.
Yeah.
That's it.
Also,
one other thing about NXT. What was one other guy? Wilson Gravely. Is that his name?
Yes, I believe it was.
What a talent!
Yeah,
what a talent. And then,
but this is. Do you know when everyone was going on saying about all the talent that got released from NXT? And don't get me wrong, some of them are really good, like Damo, Killian Dane, great guy. I interviewed him for WrestleBuddy not long ago, really good guy. But it's like, okay, that's fine, and there's a lot of them, but the likes of your Bron Breakker and that have been hiding in the performance center for how long?
Yep.
Do you know what I mean? So, it just shows you that as much as it's not like nice and we don't like to see people lose their jobs or anything like that, it proves that it was right, doesn't it?
Exactly. That's why we could have nice matches like Duke Hudson and Grayson Waller. That's his name, Grayson Waller.
Grayson Waller, that's the one. Yeah.
That's a different look. And and after that match, even though Waller left or Waller lost. He had a nice interaction on trying to pick up girls with To the Moon.
Well, apparently he's having to get a bloody shave and all that now, isn't he? Vince isn't happy with his hairy body.
They better not, dude. He's
No.
such a highlight. He's do you watch his matches and go, I think I'm going to enjoy this?
Yeah.
That's what I do every time. Like, I'll stop and watch because he's such a throwback. The way he moves,
He's
that
awesome, isn't he?
flipping crossbody is. I wonder how somebody does that, or
Yeah.
how you could like interact with your opponent for that. So it's just really cool.
Good. Right, let's move on to SmackDown then very quickly. Not a much terrible show here. Zelina Vega beat Carmella in the Queen's Crown.
So
Just
could we
in
call
case
this?
you care.
Yeah, Zaquina.
Right,
It could be Zaquina. Good ring. She's got a tire for it.
El
Queen
Jefe.
of the South.
Apart from that, the contract signing was good. I thought Roman done really well in that. And the way they're still giving these little nudges to Heyman, maybe still being aligned to Brock, really good. Like that. Happy with that. Apart from
I'm
that,
not happy. Why would you want to go to an event if all you've seen the past month are contract signings?
Yeah. Well, we know what WWE is. It's entertainment, bro. That's what it's all about. God, still saying bro. Must be catching that off Vince Russo.
It's but who is it entertaining? I never wanted to clamor for a contract signing. I remember going to
I don't
Raws.
mind having a contract signing if it means something. Like if you go back to the early days, Hogan Andre's contract signing was awesome. Do you know what I mean? The way they done it, and it was brilliant. And so I think they use it too often nowadays.
When I was one of my favorite movies growing up is Creep Show. They always had a haha gotcha moment. Okay. And that's with mainly most of these contract signings. The only problem is that it's not visual.
No.
It's spoken, it's not like we could read fine print. So to me it leaves a taste of you're missing something here, and that's why I'm not like the hugest fan of it. That's why I never went to Raws when they were go homes, because I was like, I hope they don't do a contract signing, or I hope Sable's not in the ring.
Tell me about it. Right, other match on there we had was Lynch versus Banks, with Banks going over. Pay-per-view heavy match, that, mate.
Yeah. I mean, it's booking backwards, and I guess this is one of the components of, all right, we're going to push back the draft, so you guys could have this match, but I also do think that that's for advertising the card ahead of time to the people buying tickets. So you kind of have that obligation. That's a big thing that Vince wants. Don't mess with my, my card. You do that, you're gone, and he's a strong proponent of that, or strong believer in that. And I appreciate that. Somebody's promised to be there, they'll be there.
Yeah. That's it. Talking about pay-per-view heavy matches, the Street Profits versus the Usos was awesome as well.
They get it. The show is good. And yesterday they had, did you notice Sonya Deville comes out and she's still playing a great heel. Fine, I'll face you, but you're going to be with Shayna. I'm going to be with Shayna. And Naomi's just, you yearn for that.
Yeah.
And, and I want to see more of that, because, it's a good storyline that's building up better and better.
Yeah. Like that. No problem with that at all, mate.
Until she turns heel and joins the family.
Yeah, which is the best do that soon. It's got to happen. Last note on SmackDown: how good was Seth Rollins with his promo?
I'm not a big lover in him speaking, maybe just because of how he sounds, but damn, professional.
Yeah, and what a way to set up a pay-per-view when you haven't got your opponent there to set it up any better. Pay-per-view match, brilliant. And well done. Okie doke, so we'll move on to AEW Rampage. Obviously, we normally talk a lot more about AEW, but we haven't had much content on AEW this week, so let's get
Yeah.
to it. On
What's the
our
number one big
buy-in
mistake?
show, let's look at our buy-in show. Okay, not a bad match. I'm not going to sit here and shit the match. Suzuki, I'm not a fan of him. Him and Danielson together, but it was okay match. But my big thing is, how can you have a buy-in for a show that is free on TV?
He thinks he's cute. Last week we discussed how he made such a bold statement after he was probably housed at the bar and said he won't even, if he made such a bold statement, why don't you come out and say my competitor WWE? Go right ahead and say it. I don't appreciate. I appreciate his gutsiness to an extent. I also think it's just stupidity on how he said that.
Yeah.
Furthermore, why isn't this on TV?
Yeah.
You want to go head to head? Don't give me head to head with Punk kind of, following the steps that he did 10 years ago with Matt Sydal. And don't put the Bunny and Ruby Soho on there.
Yeah. No. Well, give him
in that same half hour. In that same half hour, though.
Yeah.
Not good, man.
One thing I say, so we'll move on to the main show. Obviously, we have Punk and Sydal go at it. As you said, it did look like it was the same as 10 years ago, but in a good way. I thought for Punk. I think he's starting to look better now.
We love both of them. I love Sydal. I always did. He was always different. And like I said, him and Kazarian and Christian Cage, those guys are the ones that are helping these young cats develop. Punk isn't a young cat, obviously, but there's history there. And like we said, that famous photo, of the champions from yesteryear, it's all coming back into form, with several people still working together in AEW. And Punk ended up having a good match with Sydal because you knew he would.
Oh yeah, but you have to admit though, he's getting better from what we first seen against Allen to where he's at now. He's starting to. You can see he's starting to pick up, and you can see the confidence growing in him as well.
I saw that with Hobbs though. I was like, this guy's got it right back, man. Like training wheels are off right now. He's a professional.
Yeah. The only thing. Again, my critique of this is, again, now, okay, we've got the matches out. You've got your training wheels off, as you quite rightly say. Okay, now, let's go properly. Let's go properly. Let's start seeing some feud. Let's see a feud now. Not just these one-off matches. Let's see a feud, a proper built feud with him.
Yep. And I'm wondering why him and Team Taz, that's not a thing anymore. I've been clamoring for Punk versus Ricky Starks.
Yeah.
He even said that to the crowd. Do you want me to see him? And they go, yeah. I guess he didn't listen.
That's the thing, wasn't it? It was the fact that, like, when he come out, he didn't say, Big Hobbs. It was just Team Taz. Don't you say Team Taz's name? And then it was like, I thought, okay, here we go. So he's going to go through all the Team Taz. Yeah, fine. Not a problem with that. And then it was just, again, one off. And then it's like, Starks, me and you now. Yeah, it's annoying. Ruby Soho, the Bunny.
Hook? You want to see me against Hook? That's what he said.
I know. I'm not saying nothing about the Bunny versus the Thing. The Inner Circle are back together, apparently. So, versus Sky Page, Jorge Masvidal there. He's always going to bring guys to your product, isn't he? One thing I will say is give Jericho his due. I thought like he carried the likes of Santos and that well here. They put together a good match.
He was in the ring for a long time. He was in the ring for a long time during that match. I was pretty surprised,
Yeah.
It wasn't a bad match, but at the end of the match I said, where is this going? What can you do with this?
Yeah.
And it's just Jericho is sticking himself to anything that could be hot.
Yeah.
And doesn't.
And also, and the thing is, as well, is as he's just proved there, he took the loss. Do you know what I mean? He took the pin, didn't he?
Huge.
Huge
against Sky.
Yeah,
I thought
I've got
I thought
so much respect for Chris Jericho, mate. So much respect for him because he hasn't just, for me, this is the difference between some of your talent that went to WCW back in the day is like they went there to pick up a paycheck and do things. Chris Jericho has genuinely gone there and is being worth every penny he's being paid because he is developing new talent, new storylines. He's got one of the best entrances in the company, if not the best entrance in the company. He's everything he's doing is to try and better AEW along the way, isn't it?
only if it benefits him, though.
Do you think so?
Be absolutely. Look, he doesn't need to stick to talent. Like, what was the Orange Cassidy deal? Nobody got over. Orange Cassidy hasn't won anything since. MJF is now fodder, and he had a Brian Pillman esque um, feud that was what,
Mm,
3-4 weeks after that, which clearly it was good. But I will say this: nobody's teaching. Why is Jericho not telling Pillman, hey, this guy just told you that your mom's a whore,
yeah.
your sister's a meth addict, but as soon as you come out, you have a microphone and you're going like this to the crowd. It is
Mm,
the dumbest thing. Nobody's teaching them these things. You think Cody would know that? Cody's dad just did the best promo. It was one of the best promo guys ever in the
yeah.
sport. And people gotta say, use some more fire and emotion because
Mm,
it's not working out. Okay,
no.
with this whole last night, Tony Khan didn't poke a bear. He crept around the bear to go steal its honey, and in the process fell into a snake pit that's
Yeah.
15 feet deep because what you put out there yesterday was hot garbage and was the worst hours of TV I've watched in the past
Mm,
several years. Rampage last night was a joke.
mm,
Seeing Paige Van Zant in the ring taking selfies was not funny. It
no.
was not cute. I remember, do you remember 20, 30 years ago, the people laughing in the ring doing stuff like
Mm,
that? I don't. With a
no.
woman holding stuff up?
No. And not even a thing, but I get the whole point why she's there. She'll bring guys and whatnot as well. She don't forget she was on Dancing on the Stars as well, Paige Van Zandt. So she's got mainstream poke as well as what she's got from the UFC and the bare knuckle fighting. So, hats off to her, but I do get what you mean. And I feel like if this is Tony Khan's reaction to um Raw got a SmackDown going head to head with them for the 30-minute slot, then for me personally, it's not really a good reaction.
No. And right, and if people claim that Suzuki's this all great power
Mm,
wrestler, why are you? eh, Granted, you and I could think whatever, but he's got a following in Japan. Why
mm,
wouldn't you put him on regular TV to go head to head against WWE? You and I
mm.
could think that.
Because
Like,
you'll probably get a lot more Japanese views on thing. Let me just have a little look now and see if I can see on YouTube. Let's see how many views that match actually's got.
at the time, it was 81,000 live.
Okay, 81,000 live, which is really poor. Yeah.
Yep, on YouTube, free TV for a buy-in.
Okay, so their free YouTube buy-in, um, it's got 535,000 views.
What do you think of that?
To be honest, very poor, mate.
What are they doing? Because they're not marketing this stuff.
Mm,
They announced that early in the week, and Brian Danielson was probably like, okay, cool. But why don't you advertise that for regular TV if you want to go head to head with the quote unquote big boys?
mm,
You know what I mean? It's
yeah.
just, that's poor
I
marketing
think
right there.
they need to work on a lot of things, mate. Obviously, I think like the video game is going to be critical for them. I feel like the merchandise is what they've got at the moment is poor. I feel like that needs to be better. And, Vince Russo said last week in the interview I done with him is one of the biggest downfalls for TNA was they spent so much money on Bischoff and Hogan coming in that they didn't have no money left for marketing. So
Yeah.
I feel like, but obviously we know that's not the case with Khan. He's got a lot of money, but I do feel like he needs to get a better marketing department now. I feel like they've done so well on what they can, but now it's like, okay, if you really want to compete and you really want to do well, then it's, you're gonna have to one, start touring around the world. That's a big one. Do you know what I mean? Because let's face it, WWE are getting paid more money for
Garbage.
Crown Jewel next week than
Thank you.
what AEW's television deals with.
Yeah, but I think that if Tony ever gets the sense of bringing people over there,
Mm,
like you and I were talking, what was it? Last month, I saw how they were advertising starting to air in India.
hmm.
And who were they using? They were using past WWE guys as their
Yeah,
banners or
yeah,
as their backdrops, and that's what's going to work for them. But
yeah,
they
yeah,
need to, and the, more power to them. People
yeah.
can say, "Oh, you need homegrown talent," but you know, they're not going to know who Adam Page is.
No,
They might
no.
know Omega,
Mm.
but that's
But
like that's a
yeah,
closed circle
I've
there.
got no problem with them using if they what you call it. I've got no problem them using them talents to build themselves up. But there's got to come a point when once your talent's built up, you've got to start relying on doing your own things. Do you know what I mean? It's like, for instance, CM Punk. You know, you've got CM Punk there. People turn in and, oh, what's Punk up to? Now, the first match against Darby Allin, fair dues. Nobody had seen Punk wrestle in over, what was it, 9 years, I think it was, or whatever. So there was intrigue there. People wanted to see what he was like in the ring and
Spectacle,
stuff
yeah,
like that. Yeah.
yeah, it was a
But
spectacle.
now it's just, I'm not tuning in every week to watch Punk just wrestle. I want to see him in a feud that interests me now.
Yeah.
You know, to what you can't just keep doing. AEW do it so often where they just do single matches just for the sake of doing them.
Yeah.
And it's like, in my eyes, do you know what? And people are probably going to hate me for this, but they need an Eric Bischoff, a Vince Russo, somebody who can come in and write a program for them in matches wise, because the likes of, no disrespect to Omega, no disrespect to the Young Bucks, no disrespect to anyone, but the likes of the Young Bucks, Omega, they've all been in Japan and wrestled 5-star matches, fair dues. They've done, you know, some great wrestling matches over the thing, but they haven't done sustained TV.
No,
They haven't done
because
sustained entertainment, and that's where they're going to miss out on it because of that.
it's because they're and it's where they came from. They're
Hmm.
very indie-rific because
Yeah.
it's let's go to this gymnasium in this state and do this match, and then we'll
Mm.
go to another Elks Lodge in this state and do this match. That's it.
Exactly.
They don't have to write storylines and
No.
programs, and that's why 90% of their promos suck.
And that's why
That's
the
why they
likes of Adam Page and Britt Baker, in my eyes, are bigger AEW stars than them.
totally,
Hmm.
totally. They might scoff at TNA, but
Hmm.
TNA was episodic, and during a certain run, TNA actually was,
Even
understood how to
Impact,
write things.
even Impact nowadays, Impact has still got storylines to what they're trying to achieve and what they're doing. Where it
Yeah,
just seems like AEW do need to get a creative department, because I know he's saying, Tony Khan saying that he makes the final decision on things, and that's great. You can make the final decision, but when your booking committee is full of, as you say, top indie wrestlers, great. Now they are television established stars, great, but they do not know how to write television,
yeah.
and that's why you need to bring in some more solid and experienced people.
Well, it's shit though. Think about it.
Mm,
When FTR came in, 2 weeks later, jobbers stole their truck.
yeah.
This worked 20 years ago, 25 years ago. Well,
Mm.
first of all, security systems have gotten better. Okay, on automobiles. All right. Secondly, what just happened? Nobody wants to see these guys face. If you bring the Hardy family order on there, and then all of a sudden have a hair versus hair match like what we
Mm,
saw last week, nobody cares. Emotional investment is what these people need. And people are invested in Hangman Adam Page coming back because they love him. I think the
mm,
story could have been a lot better because he should not be with the Dark Order acting like a sad drunk.
yeah.
Okay, that's bad image right there. If you had a writer, you could avoid this.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and we talk about this too because we hated the Lily storyline. We hate a lot of stuff going on with WWE. They don't get a pass. They get
No.
far from a pass. They have one of the best storylines they've had in years going on right now with the advocacy of Paul Heyman. That's a manager, folks.
Mm-hmm.
Show me a manager on AEW that's getting that heat and that much of clout
Don
for a
Callis, mate.
storyline.
Don Callis. Could be if it was written correctly. I love Callis, and I think
we both do. And what he was saying about Christian Cage was probably the best. With Omega was probably some of the best stuff that they wrote.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and because it was all true.
Yeah, when he was calling Bryan Danielson a hippie hillbilly.
He's a cunning linguist, but use guys like that to write your stuff, though. Don't go back there and say, "Hey, Vicky Guerrero, do you want to come out with this one?" And don't give and Andrade's coming out tonight with 2 other people from Mexico. Do you care? I only care because I'm waiting to laugh at what he does, especially what is this, his 4th match in AEW?
See, the thing is, I don't mind where you see like Bryan Danielson come out and said that Tony Khan lets him when he said, "Well, what do you want me to do in the match? Just go out and have the match. This is the finish. Do what you want to do in between," which is great. But you need that extra layer there. How do we get to the match? What makes us care about the match? You know what I mean? And that's where I feel like it's missing. Still let these wrestlers plan their own matches out, but in terms of storyline, we need to tell them what the storylines are going to be and how it's going to go and where we're going to get to the end of it.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why Brian Danielson is 110 million% correct on this. And because he shouldn't be worrying about where his character goes. We want to know where the person goes. And right now, I'm just letting you know, I think I'm in the finals of the King of the Ring of 92 and 93, and Brett's going up against Mr. Perfect. So
94.
Oh, that's right. I'm thinking of Hakushi too. He's coming in after this. Oh, Hakushi. Oh boy. Am I bringing it back right now? Andy's gonna be watching all of these today.
Oh man, I am gonna watch them all again. I love the King of the Ring, especially the old King of the Ring. Savio Vega was in that one, wasn't he? Well, what a guy he was.
He was, Quang.
Yeah.
Quang just did a signing by me not too long ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, good for him. As Quang. Shoot.
Right, buddy. So on that note, we're going to wrap it up for this week. But it's been not a great week in wrestling, to be honest. I'm surprised we had so many talking points, considering it's been quite a flat week, hasn't it?
One thing I wanted to say, though, is that you and I just briefly talked about this. So Rene Dupree came out. And Rene Dupree was a very great he was a good wrestler that was just too young, from French Canada and everything. And he was teamed with La Resistance, which I was a mark for because, I like those guys. I was a, huge fan of the Quebecers too. Now, he said that Sylvain Grenier used to tell people what to do and what not to do and not to be too hard, and Bully Ray beat the crap out of him.
Yeah.
Now, what do you think? Do you think that that's part of the reason why he never got his full credibility, Rene Dupree, back in the day?
I don't know. I think for him, Rene Dupree, I feel like he come in during a kind of transitional era where it wasn't kind of like the old school, but some of the old school was still trying to get that across there. And he was like the new breed. But unfortunately, he was one of the first new breed to come across.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, because they then, after the whole La Resistance thing, the draft, which it was impacted right away, folks, he went to SmackDown and had Fifi the dog.
Yeah. Fifi.
Yeah. And he was probably, one of the best looking wrestlers there, talent wise and, just, come across. It's not a huge body of work, fans, but he, was somebody that you go, why didn't this guy ever just become anything? And you could ask
go
him
and check
yourself.
out his new podcast, Cafe de Rene, with my good friend James.
Oh, is it?
His wrestling podcast, yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't know he's
James was
affiliated.
really, really inspirational to me and helped me set up this podcast when we first ever started. Give me a lot of touching points. He's a great guy, James, and I'm made up for him that he's doing well with Renee on that, and that 90s wrestling podcast is doing well as well. So
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just guys like that that keep going on and just give us a platform to talk on. Remember, guys, now I'm just a puppy and he's got the leash.
no, let's see on this one. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining us again this week. Hopefully next week will be a better week of wrestling. Obviously, we've got Crown Jewel and stuff. Kind of and on whether we're going to do a live stream over on the Wrestle Buddies channel. So if we do that, make sure you come over and check us out, and also check out all our fantastic articles. And we've now got our pal Dale writing with us as well, haven't we, man?
Yeah, somehow somebody, I guess their tolerance level went down for a weekend, and had another few more schlitzes. So they said, hey, let's give Dale the reins to actually write on here.
No. Go and you know what? Go and read his article about Twitter accounts for wrestlers. It's awesome. It really was a good read, and it's really outside the box, guys. It's something different than what normal people write. So, but until next time, thanks for watching TAWT. Hopefully, we've learned you something, or you know, you agree on some of the things we go on about. But until next time, guys, we will see you next week. Take care and have a great week.
Subscribe, guys. Subscribe.
Yeah, subscribe and click the notification button and leave us some comments. Take care. Bye.